So hey everyone, welcome to the channel and thanks for stopping by. So today I'm going to give you 5 Lightroom tips for drone photographers. So if you're newer to Lightroom and using Lightroom for your drone photography, then this might be a really good video for you. If you're not interested in drone photography and stuff, that's okay. This channel covers lots of different topics, RVing, full-time RV living, but I am adding more photography into this and more photography tips and tricks because this is part of what I do out of my Airstream. So all right, let's jump right into it. So let's talk about 5 Lightroom tips for drone photographers. And tip number 1 is a really simple one. If you're new to Lightroom, you're going to be learning more about this as you get better with Lightroom. But when you go to import images, so from wherever the images are importing, we're going to ignore the left side and the middle because we're going to assume you've got a little Lightroom knowledge. And if you don't have Lightroom knowledge, down in the show notes, I do have a link to my Lightroom for Beginners course. So it's a workflow course. And I actually have a special discount for all of my YouTube channel subscribers. So when you have images to import, one of the things that you're going to want to do over here on the right-hand side, apply during import. Right down here, you've got a keywords box. So when you come back from a photographic trip and you've been out shooting for a while with your drone and you want to offload those images, before you get them into Lightroom, before you hit that import button, go ahead and add some keywords. So give a description of the location where you were flying. Give a description if you were doing bracketed photos for making your own high dynamic range photography. Give a description if you were putting up panoramics. So panoramic, let's see what else, HDR, AEB for auto bracketing, maybe where you were, Prescott, Arizona. You get the idea. The more keywords you have in there, the easier it's going to be to find your images when it's all said and done. So as we grow our libraries, look over here on the left-hand side. This is a test library for my class, and I'm not going to import anything right now. And just doing test images for my latest course, I've already got 919 photos in this particular library in only a couple of days' time. So things start to get hard to find as your library grows in size. So, okay, number 2, speaking of finding things, in order to find your photos quickly, you can use your search filters and combine them if you need to. So you can search on a keyword, you can search on pick flags, you can search on a multitude of things. So if I go in here and here's my library right here, my library filter, and I type in to the text search, I only want to find photos that have AEB labeled on them. So here's some photos from auto bracketing. So there we go. I could also say I only want to find things with AEB and a particular attribute, like maybe you put a pick flag on an image. So now I've got even fewer images. So in a very quick search, just for one quick term, and then for looking for flagged ones only, I have reduced things down to only a couple of photos. I'm going to turn that off real quick because we could also go to metadata. So we could search maybe on the date that I did the photo shoot. So the photos we were looking at, they were shot on Monday, the 24th. And take a look at that. It's only showing me those images. You could also do it based on the cameras you're using. So as you start using alternate cameras, you'll be able to pick from that. Or if you've got interchangeable lenses, so that's normally for the DSLR folks. For the smaller drones out there, most likely you're not swapping out lenses. All right, I'm going to turn these search filters off really quick. And the next item, you can actually do bulk editing. So let's open this image right here. Let's say that we had a problem in this image. Let's say maybe this is a giant dust spot. We know it's not a giant dust spot, but I can go over to the develop module and I can grab the dust spot removal tool. So maybe I want to declare that this right here is not a cloud, but instead a dust spot. And I can select from another area. And when I turn this off, now we've got 2 of the same things. So it replicated the area, so it took that right out of there for me. And we can actually look at the before and after. And we can see here's the before, and over here is the after. So we definitely made a change. Now, with that change, we can actually do a bulk edit. So let's say we wanted to apply that same change to several more images. Well, I'm going to go to the library here. And this particular image is a series of images because they were auto bracketed. So if we look at this first one, there's our dust spot change. If we look at the second one, not our dust spot change. So how can I apply this? Well, I highlight the one that I did the change with, and then I can highlight the others. So here's the other 4 of 5. And down here, I can sync settings. So in syncing the settings, there's the spot removal. So when I sync these settings, let's go ahead and hit synchronize. Now let's look at photo number 2. We got rid of our dust spot. So all of those photos that I applied that to have had that dust spot removal done. So that's really cool because that means if you do find something on your lens that keeps showing up in every image, you can fix it in one image and then you can sync the settings to the other images. So I'm going to go back into the develop module one more time, and we're going to do YY, and we can see before, that's the area that we did the dust spot removal, and after. So really, we don't want this dust spot removal, but this is just a for example. So you could quickly correct problems, very quickly correct problems. All right, the next quick tip for Lightroom for drone photographers. This is a very simple and interesting one. So here we are at that image again, and I'm going to hit the D key to go to the develop module. And I'm actually going to hit reset down here in the right corner, and look at that, my dust spot removal is gone. So this is a very, very quick one in the develop module. When you're just fixing up your photos ever so slightly, over here on the right hand side under the basic develop module, we have a tool called dehaze. And dehaze does a very good job at kind of bringing a little life back to a photo if there's any haze in it. But let's just go ahead and move this over. Look what that's done to the sky. The sky is incredible. I don't like what's going on with the foreground though. So I could actually use a brush tool to brush in the dehaze. So I'm going to use the brush tool really quick. I'm going to slide dehaze over into, let's put it at 40. That might be obnoxious. But now, with the Lightroom brush tool, I am applying dehaze only to that sky. So just painting over it really quick, and let's take a look here. So I painted the whole area that I wanted to. Maybe I overdid it a little bit on the mountain. And now, if I pump that dehaze filter up, whoa, that's way too much. But that dehaze folder, lightly used, is very interesting. Now I'm going to turn my little brush tool off really quick, and I'm just going to go take a look at the before and after. So look at the difference in the clouds and in the sky there. Pretty darned amazing. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the grid view one more time, and we're going to talk about one more item. So the number one tip for Lightroom for drone photography is to use auto stacking. So as you can see, I have a stack of images here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these images all go together, but when I first imported them, they weren't stacked. They were all individuals. Now, if you're doing auto bracketing on your drone because you want to make HDR images, high dynamic range images, so you want some underexposed images and you want some overexposed images and proper images, you put them together to create a high dynamic range photograph. Now, hunting around for all of your bracketed photos might become a pain. If you went out and shot for an hour, you might be coming back with hundreds of images, and many of them are bracketed. So all you have to do to get all of your images bracketed quickly after you've imported your image, or images I should say, we have a drop down called stacking here. So we can unstack, and we can expand the stack to show it all. We can remove things from the stack. But when we first get back, we can auto stack by capture time. So when you're doing bracketed photos, when you're shooting multiple photos at different exposures on your drone, you can auto stack by capture time. And if you set the auto stack by capture time to 1 second or smaller, it is going to put together all of your images that were shot back to back for your stack. Very, very simple, very easy. And that helps to clean up the view on your grid view. So as you can see, I have a lot of photos in here. And if I've got photos that all belong in stacks, like you can see right here, if I were to unstack them all, it would show all 919 photos. But thanks to the fact that I've done stacking, you can actually look down here on the lower left. So we've got the word all photographs here. You're seeing my little splash right here. And right now we're displaying 497 out of 919 photos. The reason why we're displaying fewer than we actually have is very simple. It's because of the stacks. So the stacks have made it easier for me to look through my photographs in my grid view very quickly. I only have to look at 497 things instead of 919 things. And that was all thanks to the auto stack. Now you can also click on an image, right click that image, and you can go down to stacking there. So you could stack things manually if you wanted to, but once again we also have an auto stack by capture time one more time. So there you go. There's our 5 tips, our 5 Lightroom tips for drone photographers. Number 5, before you import, make sure you add your keywords in. Number 4, if you want to find photos quickly, use your library filters for text, attributes, and metadata. If you found a bad spot on one of your images and it carries through to other images, you can do a spot removal, and then you can apply that spot removal to multiple other images. Number 2, the dehaze filter goes a long way to really adding a little extra punch to your images. It only takes a moment for you to try it out. And if you only want to do it on certain parts of your image, you can go into the Develop module, use Lightroom's brush tool, and just brush the dehaze in where you see fit. And the number 1 tip for drone photographers, because I know a lot of us do auto bracketing, is the fact that you can auto stack your images after you've imported them so that you can have them into condensed groups so that you're not looking at every single crazy image out there. And when you do the stacks, you'll see a little symbol like this. So this is a stack of 5 images. This is a stack of 5 images. This one here is only a stack of 2 images. But that's okay. So you can have big stacks, you can have small stacks, and when it's all said and done, you're going to have a much easier time sorting through your library if you're doing a lot of bracketed drone shots. Well, I hope that these 5 tips were helpful to you. And once again, if you're just learning about Lightroom, go look down in the show notes and you will find a link to my Lightroom workflow course for digital photographers, and that includes drone pilots as well.